Hi guys, welcome back to Podcast. So for today's video, I will be reviewing this model. So what I got here is my first Hot Wheels Elite64, and the reason why that I bought this model is because first I saw this model on the designer's page, Instagram page, Ron, the designer of Hot Wheels Elite64s and other Hot Wheels models, and I'm very interested to see this model in 64 scale since, well, based on what Ron said and what I found on the internet, that the McLaren M6GT, the model we are going to review today, isn't found in 64 scale yet until now, made by Hot Wheels Elite64. So technically Hot Wheels Elite64 made the first McLaren M6 GT in 64 scale. So yeah, this is a pretty special model. And on top of that, this model was also become Ron's first model to design in the Elite64, if I'm not mistaken, based on what he wrote on the post. So yeah, I think that's about the brief description on why I bought this model. And now let's talk about the packaging first before we get into the model. So the packaging itself is just like the other Elite64, so they still use this blister packaging just like other Hot Wheels models, like the basics and the premiums. And I think the size is pretty much the same like as in the premium lines. And we also received this protector from the factory, from Mattel, so to kind of like protect the card itself. And if we open the protector and take the model off, oh, by the way, I've already opened the bubble, the blister, so I can take a few shots before I make the video. And yeah, if you one thing to notice is that if you want to open it from the back because you want to keep the look of the front of the blister intact, you cannot, because I've tried to open it from the back and I cannot take the model off the packaging because it still have a bubble inside. So you see that it still have a bubble inside, so you can take off the model. So the only way to take the model off is to cut the front blister and to take the model off. But let's talk about the card first. So this is the Elite64 cards. The artwork is pretty cool to see, like a bit more realistic to compare to the premium lines. And then we got the model name right here, the McLaren M6 GT number 12. I think this is the 12th model from the Elite64. And then on the bottom we got the metal, which means this is a full metal diecast with the real riders. And then on the back we got to see a short description of the car, McLaren M6 GT. And then obviously we have the license, because Hot Wheels always have the license. And yeah, that is pretty much it about the packaging. And now let's open the model and take it off from the card, and let's take a closer look on the model and see the details. Right, so where to begin? Things starting from the front. Wait, let me try to adjust the lighting a little bit. Right, so yeah, let's start from the front. I think a pretty different compared to the premium lines from Hot Wheels. We got this plastic headlights on the front, which is pretty detailed compared to the premium lines and also the RLC. And yeah, we got to see a pretty clear headlights with the inner headlights being painted in black and silver. And then for the front grille, we got this black tampo painted with the silver on the center. And if you look at the center of this model, you get to see that is the first logo for the McLaren, the actual one, before they changed it to the more recent one. So we got the older logo right here, very accurate to the model. Let me try to zoom in more. Right, so you got the kiwi bird that was part of New Zealand's native bird where Bruce McLaren's was born, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Like the information on how the kiwi bird appeared on the McLaren logo is that is the city, I mean the region where Bruce McLaren's was born, so they put it on the logo before they change it to the more recent one. So yeah, that is pretty cool trivia on this model. And then moving on to the front air intakes, like this is just a painted black tampos. And then moving on to the sides, so yeah, the wheels itself is pretty okay, it's pretty detailed. It is obviously more detailed compared to the premium ones, but we still haven't seen a disc brakes, just like the normal true 64 scale models. But yeah, it still feels and it still rolls pretty well. And we got to see the four spokes wheels painted in black with the outer chrome lips. And the tires itself is also worth noticing because both front and rear tires have different thickness, which is also accurate to the actual model. And then what else? Oh, this part right here is painted in silver, obviously, but if you look at the dots right here, I think the rivets is a little bit too big and it's a little bit exaggerated, I think, for a 64 scale model. So it kind of makes it look like it have a disease, you know what I mean? And we have this black tampo details right here, and then the latches for the engine cowl is still tampo printed instead of a separate parts like a true 64 scale. So yeah, that is pretty much just like very Hot Wheels ish details with the printed tampo. Now we got the handle right here, and then moving on to the back. Now this is what it looks like to be a very Hot Wheels ish details with the painted taillights, but it is understandable because the headlights being this small, it is very hard to reproduce in a plastic parts like the usual true 64 scale model, so that is understandable. And then we got to see two exhaust pipes here peeking out behind the engine cowl. And then what else? Oh, I kind of forgot about the side mirrors. So side mirrors is pretty much a hard plastic with the chrome finishing, and that is pretty cool. The chrome finishing is really nice on this model. Wait, let me try to zoom in right there. That is pretty nice. And then this model also have an openable feature, which is the rear engine cowl. And how to open it is just you pull it back right like this, and then you reveal the Chevy 5.7 liter V8 that was used on this McLaren. And I think Ron himself has made a great work on replicating this engine. Like you could see the details are right there. Even for a Hot Wheels, this is pretty detailed compared to the RLC one. This one is a little bit better in terms of details. Like you could see the shapes right there, and then the finishing, it's really nice to see. You got the transmission also on the bottom right there. And yeah, that is pretty much it about the engine details. And if you close it just like that, and on the bottom, right, so the bottom is pretty much like the standard Hot Wheels with the rivets right here locking on the models, just like the basics. And then you got the name 2024 Mattel, made in China, McLaren M6GT, just like the normal Hot Wheels. And then we got to see a little bit of details right here on the rear of the model with this bars or cages right here, and then also a little peek at the transmission right here, and it's pretty cool. And then one thing worth noticing again is that I really like this tire pattern. It's like the period correct tire pattern that was used in the 60s, in the 70s, like They use the Avon wheels or Dunlop, if I'm not mistaken. I think this one is Avon, just like the tires that we use in the 917 Porsche. This is a pretty distinctive tire pattern that I recognize from the classic race car from that era. So yeah, that is pretty worth noticing that they use a period correct tire pattern. That is really nice. The front itself is the same. So yeah, I think that's about it for this video, and thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.